What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin the Gas podcast on this beautiful Monday afternoon. I'm sitting down with the legend himself, Brandon Cretu, on the podcast. But before we get into that, I'd like to thank this sponsor, Next Level Financial. Take control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial needs analysis today. And on top of that, Brandon, I tell everybody this. I'm an ambassador for Bison. I love Robert and Tasha and what they do for this sport. Don't buy an off-the-rack suit. It's not going to fit you, well, 90% of us correctly, right? When you have a suit that don't fit you correctly, man, it causes all kinds of issues with your body position, riding on the bike, the whole nine. Go to bisontrack.com, sign up. Super simple to do. You choose the suit, perforated kangaroo, cowhide, all that good stuff. And yeah, trust me, you will thank me later. Join the herd. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the legend himself, Brandon, what is going on, man?
What's up, man? I just had a funny thought when your loading music. It's like this rap music. I like it. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And it reminded me. It oddly enough reminded me of a strip club. And I was like, oh, I feel like I need to get some dollars around here, throwing some dollars around. And then you said financial. You have a sponsor who does financial advice, and they would say, no, not a good idea. So you should save your money for a Bison suit for sure, because Rob and Tasha are awesome.
Man, I tell everybody, Brandon, they really are. They really, and it's obviously KYT too, right? So
yeah,
get you a KYT helmet for sure. I don't personally have one yet. I am going to buy one.
All right.
And when I do,
so that was a quick podcast, man. Goodbye. No.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm out now. Deuces. It's been a lot of fun. Not really. Yeah, but no, I'm going to, Brandon. Of course, I'm gonna hit you up for it. So yeah. But listen, we got a lot to talk about. I've been so excited about this since I formally introduced myself when we actually met and started chatting. So let's get into it, Brandon. Where did your journey begin on two wheels?
Oof. Yeah, so I was saying off the mic earlier, it's been a long time since I've done a podcast about like my racing or like my intro to the sport and everything. Usually nowadays I'm just talking about KYT or like Ovale. I think a lot of people, it was funny when I was doing the Ovale thing. And even now with KYT, because I'm like obviously getting older now, and so we sponsor like kids or younger riders, and some of them literally had zero idea that I ever raced a motorcycle, like that I even like rode a motorcycle. So I was like, it's funny because it's like a bunch of the Avali kids were like that. They had like zero idea that I ever rode a motorcycle, because I don't really talk about it either. Like I'm like, I'm not one of those types that I just do it. I always did it for myself. I try not to toot any horns or, that's not really why I ever got into riding, But yeah, I didn't ride till I was 21. My first motorcycle I got when I was 20 years old. I used, again, like your financial advice sponsor would say, don't listen to what Brandon's about to tell you. He did. But I took out, I was going to college. I was paying for college myself. I took out loans to pay for all my school, and I used extra money out of a student loan to buy my first motorcycle. So my parents not thrilled. They were never motorcycle people. My dad especially was like not feeling it. So yeah, just that's how it started. My friends just had sport bikes. I had a couple of friends with sport bikes. Like I never rode dirt bikes or raced or had any family involved in that whatsoever. Like it was like a foreign object to me. And then I just rode on the street like an idiot and did dumb shit for maybe like 2 years, year and a half or 2 years. And then I remember seeing Nesba for the first time, like something on Facebook, or I can't remember where I first saw him. And I wanted to do it, like try track day, because at that point all my friends and I were getting into watching like MotoGP and World Superbike. Like we would watch them on television, and we also went to Mid Ohio to watch the AMA when they used to go there before Moto America came back, when it was like legit, like fun as shit. Like it was a party, like
the golden days.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was, people don't even understand. Like never got to go there. And I'm like, if you could just bring that back and replicate that at every track you go to, everyone would be busy like that. Like it was like a party, and there were so many events. Like it was just a cool, destination thing to go do for anybody. Like even if you're not totally into bikes, because it was a party at night, everybody, it got wild. Like cops came, and that's why they had to shut it down, I guess, eventually. So, I started looking at bodywork for my first bike. I had a 1998 Ducati 748. That was like my Ducati was like my when I first saw motorcycles, like that my dream bike. Now I bought like a used old one, but it was still like had the same look as like the 998, 996, and it was like my dream bike. Um, I was looking for track body work for it and just messaged a guy that was selling some stuff, and I'm still friends with him to this day. This was back in 2003, 4, 2005. I can't remember when it was. 2005 maybe. Aaron Brown, and I was like, hey, I want to get some track fairings for this, and he had shit tons of Ducati parts, and he he was like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna try track day. Like I've never done it before. I want to try it out. And he was like, track days are gay. You got to come race. And I'm like, I don't even know this guy. Like had zero clue who this guy was. Now, looking back on it, it totally makes sense because he was just that kind of guy. But so I actually never did track day before I raced. I just met him at VIR. It was a Wiro weekend, and he was like, he kind of just showed me the ropes, took me under his wing, and was like, "Yeah, go here for the race school." And he helped me, prep the bike that night. I got there, and he sold me the fairings, and then he helped me like drill the butt bolts and prep the bike. And he bought some Bridgestone slicks from him, and fucking went race. I took the race school and went racing. And that's like kind of what got me hooked on it. And I was like, this is awesome. And I raced the rest of that year, but I only did like, I think 4 rounds maybe. And because I just didn't have the money. I was getting into something I had no clue like what kind of money was involved in it. Zero clue. All I knew it was like, it wasn't, I mean, even doing that was like not cheap for me then, but it was like also like I had no clue what was what was coming my way. And then I remember that weekend seeing everybody with these big, brand new bikes and trailer, like everything. And I was just like, holy shit. Like I was like overwhelmed. Like it just was like it was totally, different world to me. And that's what just started my journey into racing really. And then, yeah, that's how I got started. I raced that season. And the next year I wound up buying an R6. It was like a old like Graves practice bike, but it wasn't like proper It wasn't like a AMA spec. It was like a nice club bike. So I bought one of those, and then I started to get into I got my expert license that year, and then I started I continued down the club racing path.
Yeah. As most people do, right? But I want to touch base real quick on a 748. That was my first Ducati. I've been.
Was it?
Oh yeah, dude, I love Ducati. Since I seen one, so I grew up in the Navy. Look, I got me a Ducati tattoo.
Oh, cool.
I grew up in the Navy in the military. I remember my dad come out of the commissary, and there was a red Ducati there, and I was like, "Damn, what is that? I've never seen that motorcycle before." He's like, "Dude, that's a Ducati, it's a Ferrari of bikes." So one day I might have one. He just kind of chuckled and laughed, like, "Yeah, okay, you better get a good job." So funny story, real quick. I went down to my local dealer and I pulled up. And there was a red 748, and there was a doctor. It was a 2000 model, and he was a doctor, and he was looking to get a 636. Guess what I had? A 636, dude. So I'm talking to him out in the parking lot. He's like, "Man, I really want your bike." And I'm like, "Bro, I really want your bike." He's like, "Well, I'll just trade you straight up." And I was like, "Done. Let's go." So that's kind of how my journey happened for my first Ducati. So yeah, it was.
Oh shit. How long did you have that bike, or was it like how was the experience, the Ducati ownership experience for you?
Listen, when I first got it, it was everything I ever dreamed it would be, right? It was stiff, it was hard, it was hunched over, it made the clack, 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 the whole nine. It was not easy to learn to ride coming from an inline four background, the way you got to handle it, the riding position, turn it, the whole nine is different. Once I figured that out, man, it was such a great bike. It was so much fun. I didn't really think the cost of actually owning it was too far outrageous, like all the horror stories you hear.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had it about a year and a half, and I traded it in for a 2001 996S. Had that for maybe another year, and then bought a 1098S. Had that. My wife got pregnant, sold it, did the family, bought a house, blah, blah, blah. Now I got a 08 Ducati EDR 848 track bike and a 03 RC51 with 16,000 miles on it.
Mm.
So
cool. Yeah, I don't even have a a street bike anymore. I mean, I have like a scooter here, and obviously I have my bike, my track bike, but I just have a dirt bike. I don't really ride on the street at all anymore. After I started racing, that just kind of ended it for me. My interest in riding on the street at all. Like I said, I like riding my scooter downtown, grabbing like lunch or dinner or something. I live like near a small town, and then when in the winter, I live in Thailand through December and January. I run motorcycle tours. So me and my best friend started that business back in officially in 2018 or 2017. But obviously I run the tours there, and we ride on the street, to guide the people. So that's the only place I ride on the street ever is in Thailand, and which is like it's crazy riding over there, but I actually like it more because people are so used to people on motorcycles. So even though like it's crazy and there's no fucking laws up north and there's no speed limit, there's no like nobody gives a shit what you do and vice versa. But people are expecting motorcycles all the time, so they don't even like. I honestly I feel safer.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. Speaking
Yeah.
of, dude, I got a cousin that lives in Thailand. He actually married a Thai woman, brought her back here, and they own a. They just built it. I think it's like 4 years old. I'm trying to remember where in Thailand they live. It's like a Airbnb kind of hotel thing where they
Hmm.
rent it out and stuff like that. So I'll find out what it
Yeah,
is
find
and
out what
I'll let
city
you
I'd be
know.
interested. We're based up north in Chiang Mai, um, and we've been doing that. So we do off road and road tours, but even the off road you have to connect like trails on the road and everything. So yeah, like I love. I mean, it's like it is like a proper racetrack up there because like the roads up north. I mean, it's a world class destination for motorcycle riding. Like people come from all over the world to ride on these roads we take people on because number one, they're technically, I shouldn't say there's no laws. There are laws, but they just don't follow them. And we've had a cop say it to us one time. He's like, look, I know there's, everybody speeds, nobody listens to anything. Everybody does their own thing. And then you're passing trucks and you're riding like you would never ride in America. But he's like, if we don't, you don't get anywhere because then you have sometimes like up and down these mountains and over these passes and everywhere there's big trucks and you have to get around them because they're going so slow or even cars. And so they just turn their heads like they don't care. And he's like, but the second you do something that hurts somebody or goes wrong, like there's an accident, then it is the law does come into effect.
Yeah.
So, but we've literally passed cops like we're riding down the road and they're going the speed limit. We're just like, whatever. We just go right by them, double the speed. They don't care. Like literally, no care at all. So, I just it's and the roads are like immaculately paved. Like the main route we take, it's like a racetrack for 5 days straight. Like you're on like if I like my dream bike has always to ride there has always been like a 450 Supermoto because it's really hard to get a 450 over there. They don't really sell them there, but I want it like a proper like Husky FS 450 Supermoto because I'm telling you, man, like people that go there and for the first time and they're like they can't believe it. They're like these roads are nicer than most racetracks in America, and they're like they're amazing, like nice, like third gear, like swooping turns, and there's switchbacks. There's everything, and we've had everybody out with us, like big name riders. We've had, Dylan Kelly's been out riding with us, Jeremy Toy, Peter Hickman, Isle of Man TT lap record holder, tons of other riders too. But those are the ones that kind of stick in my head of the people we've had out with us.
Oh yeah.
Colin Edwards. We have Colin Edwards out with us, multiple world superbike champion.
Legends, right? Yeah, the Texas tornado, right?
Yeah.
I bet that was a journey having him over there in Thailand.
Yeah, Colin's a super close friend of mine. I mean, I've known him since 11 or 12 when that's how I first got connected with the boot camp back then because they sponsored me a little bit for my first trip to go race at Macau. And I was looking at that point, I had never even ridden dirt. And I was reached out to them because I wanted to kind of like expand my skills a little bit and start to like become I was always like trying to figure out ways to become a better rider, but I just didn't have the money, like largely, throughout most of my racing career until later on when I got like a lot better opportunities. But in the early days, I was just working a full-time job, paying off student loans, living with my parents and, trying to, figure out whatever that dream was that everybody keeps talking about.
Right?
So I was doing that forever. And, I just didn't have the money and they wound up letting me come to the camp, and take a school. And that started my love for like flat track and dirt riding, really. And then yeah, I've been going there every year for since 2012. I mean, I have I actually leave. I have a bike that I leave there now. Like I build it because they have like the people that are live around there, like instructors. They mod their bikes a little bit. They're not exactly stock. So eventually, I was like, you know what, fuck this. Like I know I like look. I ride there with Corey West. Corey West can fucking whoop my ass there, but not by that much. And it just took me to get a nicer bike. And then I'm like, some days I go there and I'm not like terribly far off. It's like a second. It's like, or, if the track's longer, maybe 2 seconds, which is like, I didn't grow up racing flat track, so I'm pretty proud of myself about that. But oh man, it's just like that's another thing. If you ever have an interest in flat track and hang out with some fucking cool dudes and just learning some like super valuable skills with riding, like I learned so much there that has translated so far into my racing career, like with road racing, and now I ride dirt a lot, and that's helped me a shit ton with learning how to ride dirt too, because even like doing the Thailand tours, um it's interesting because I'm not like most, I guess, in the industry or the racers that come through the paddock, because I didn't learn how to ride when I was a kid and I didn't have anyone teach me. So like even riding dirt, to do the only reason I ever started riding off road besides Collins and doing like the mini bike flat track stuff, I actually have still never ridden like a big flat track bike. I've never ridden a 450 or 250 flat track bike, only the TTRs. And but when we wanted to start doing off road tours in Thailand, and at that point I had never ridden an enduro bike, like ever. I'd never ridden fucking motocross, enduro, anything. And we're like, yeah, we want to do off road tours. And we're like, my best friend, we're like, shit, I guess we got to learn, So then we like just bought bikes back home. And then, the first time I ever really rode enduro was over there. And we tried to scout out a route, and that was like a fucking story for another day. But it was, it's just one of those things I've always had to like kind of figure out and teach myself all this stuff. And over the years, like I've just been lucky enough, like to then be connected with people that you ride with. When you're riding with the best, you learn really quick, or you have to learn really quick, or you're not going to keep up. So I wouldn't say I keep up with everybody, but I sure off road now, especially, like I can definitely hold my own. But it took years and years, but I didn't start riding off road or enduro until I was like 33, 34, something like that. And I'm 39 now, so it's been a quick journey, but that's like probably my favorite thing to do now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love riding off road too
Yeah.
myself. Dude, Texas Tornado, Colin Edwards boot camp, bro. I know that's a proper mega time over there. Nothing but
Dude.
fun and shooting guns, and yeah, man,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They know how to have a good time. They know how to eat fucking good food. I mean, they're all such a good group of guys, and they have fun. I never go there. I'm like, man, this is all right. I'm always like, like, I just want to go back, and like, they're just so great to hang out with. And like I said, that we've had Colin out actually twice with us. And a lot of the other guys at camp have been out more than once too. And the one guy, Joe Prussiano, fucking legend in himself. He's ex multiple time champion, road racing, Pikes Peak champion. Like the dude can fucking rip. And he's been out like over 4 or 5 times with us.
Nice.
So
And that's
we have a shit ton of repeat customers. Not even people from Collins, but we have people all over that are repeat customers. Yeah.
I love it. And that's Rosmoto.
It's Thailand Moto Tours.
Okay, Thailand Moto Tours.
Yeah,
right.
ThailandMotoTours.com. It's super easy to find those Thailand Moto Tours.
I love it, man. It's good stuff, dude. I couldn't imagine going over country and riding in a whole new place, right? Just the whole culture. And I love Thai food, so I'd be just fine. But it's just so another world, another planet, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's wild. Yeah, actually, we're planning a trip because we would just fucking work. Me and my best friend. So we own KYT and KYT Americas and the tours together, but we always are like busy with work. Like everything I do is work related. Whether it's weird because you work in something you love. It's like it's not terrible. But I'm not complaining. But like everything I do is related to work. No matter where I travel in the world or whatever, it's usually work related. Even in Thailand, like I'm there working. Like we barely get a day off. Like when we're there for 2 months, and but we've been talking for years. Like we got to start like checking out other people's tours to see what they do really well. and then like, or do really bad, whatever. And then, keep tweaking ours and making ours the best. And, we really take a lot of pride in it. And, we're going to do a tour in Namibia in February. So that'll be cool. That's like totally different from anything. I've been to South Africa before years and years ago, but I've heard Namibia is amazing for like, just the nature preserves and the scenery, the culture. I heard the people are really, really nice. But we're riding like KTM 500, just me and a bunch of people, from ex tour members or racers like Michael Haynow. Do you know Michael Haynow? He's like a
I'm not.
Champ School coach, and he races like in Moto America here and there.
I know of him, but I don't know him
Yeah,
personally.
he's coming along. Sheridan Marias, we're like
Yeah,
world endurance racers coming with
yeah,
us because he lives in South Africa. He's right there.
yeah.
So we're finally getting a chance to like do something like, yeah, it's still like kind of work related, but it's like just for us, it's like fun. And we just got like, some fucking rad dudes coming with us. So I'm stoked about that. I haven't had like a proper, separate trip for myself for a long time.
Well, good man. You deserve it.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely be looking forward to it. I actually got a couple mates that live in South Africa too.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
Donovan Foray. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Okay, Donovan Foray. He's a multiple superbike winner over there in South
Okay.
Africa. His dad owned one of the biggest South African motorcycle magazines. He actually has his own TV show where they tour on bikes and with
Oh,
the
cool.
lines and all that cool stuff. So yeah, I need to connect y'all to when you go over there.
Yeah. But sorry, I got off on a tangent. We're talking about my racing career.
Oh, dude, bro, listen, this is a podcast, dude. We're just absolutely. You never know where they're gonna go, right? It's
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. We're here to have fun and tell the story. So, listen, I'm a huge fan of the Isle of Man TT. It is absolutely my favorite race of the year. I don't care what's going on in the world. There could be a bomb. Everybody's gonna die in 10 minutes. I've got to at least watch 3 minutes of the TT before I go out. That's the type of fan I am. No bullshit, right? So I gotta ask you, bro, what was your journey like going to the TT? And I'm sure your parents were like, hell no, right?
Well, yeah, it's funny. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I can't remember who I was talking to about it recently. And because through my rate, like when I got into motorcycles, they obviously weren't fans of motorcycles, like I said. And I just kind of always like racing for me has always been something that I do for myself because I wasn't like, I mean, don't get me wrong. My parents are like the best parents in the world. I love them more than any, like I wouldn't trade my upbringing for anything. Even if it what did mean like riding bikes when I was young, didn't matter to me then. Um, but I always just did it, for myself because I didn't have like parents that were like, wanting to go to the races and not necessarily want to, but they were like, it was a scary thing to them like that. And that's just normal racing, like, at like VIR. So when I first saw the TT is actually when I didn't know anything about it until I was 23 or so. And I got in a car accident just driving in from work one night. I was worked at a motorcycle dealership in the evenings after on and off when I had time in my schedule from college, and I fell asleep at the wheel, rolled my car, and broke my neck in a really bad car accident, and I broke my C1, which is like the very top vertebra. So it's like most people die when they break their C1. I miraculously didn't, and didn't have like I have pain and discomfort still, but like it was pretty much a full recovery after pretty a bad rehab. And then, but during that time of being laid up, I was like bedridden basically for 4 or 5 months. And I saw the TT on like, it might have been like Real Sports or HBO or somewhere. I was just watching TV because that's all I could do for 4 or 5 months. So I saw it and I just became like, it sounds so corny and fucking stupid, but I became like obsessed with it. I was like, I saw it and I was like, something about it just like drew me to it. And I was like, I'm meant to do that. And I can't explain it. But here I am, how many years later, 15 years later, and I did it 8 times. And, it's like I believe in that stuff. Like if you see something and you're like, I'm meant to do that. Like that's what I was. And I did, and I came from nobody, nothing related to it. Like I didn't have fucking any, I mean, I had a job at the time and I wasn't even out of college yet. Right when I got trying to think through the series of events. Yeah, I was just about to graduate college when I broke my neck. So I didn't have like any kind of idea of how I was ever going to do this. And then I got my first job out of college and just worked for Progressive Insurance and made, less than 40 grand a year. Like I didn't make any money. And I didn't come from a family that's, had the money to support a racing habit by,
Yeah.
by any stretch. So yeah, I just did it all. I kind of figured out what I needed to do to get there at that point because I just saw it and I was like, I need to do that. So then I just started like researching it more. And after I got healed up from breaking my neck, I got back on track, even though the doctor was like, you should never ride a bicycle again because if you fall and hit your head just the wrong way, you could break your neck and die. And I'm like, and that was a big moment for me because I'm like, well, fuck, like most people would hear that. I don't know. I'm put words in other people's mouth. I don't like to do that, but most people would probably say, okay, I need to live like a safe life because like I came that close once. So I can't have it happen again, especially if your neurologist is saying, look, like don't even do anything, like don't ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do that. Can't live like that.
Yeah.
And so I just made the decision, yep, I'm still gonna go like get back on track. I'm gonna do this. And my parents were obviously then my family was like, what, what are you doing? Like, what the hell? And they, at that point, like looking back on, it, I'm like, yeah, they were fucking smart because like, look, I'm still I was like in my early 20s, like every kid in their early 20s thinks they have it all fucking figured out, but they don't, and I'm almost 40 now. I still don't have it figured out. So, you're looking back on it, I'm like, man, I'm like, I can't believe I can't believe I did it on my own and I understand why everybody was so against, just me getting back on a bike. And then, fast forward to about a year. So 2007, I got back on a bike after about a year off. And then 2008, I went over to the TT because I was like saving my money and figuring it out. So I actually went over to the TT because I found, and this was before the time of like where Facebook was really popular and all this stuff. And I found somebody through like a TT forum, and his name was John Richards. And he had two brothers that lived on the Isle of Man that he would like run every year at the TT, and they would rent bikes from him, and he would like, set up the paddock and, or the pit area and like just kind of manage it and, work on their bikes for him. And their names were Mike and John Krellin, these two brothers that raced there, and they lived on the island. And I just reached out because I put up a post, was like, hey, I want to come over and help somebody because I'm interested in eventually doing it. Like, is there anybody be able to like take me under, their wing, and I'll do anything. I'll I'll change the trash bags in the paddock, whatever. I wanted to understand what it was and what to do and meet the right people and all this stuff. So I did that. I flew over there sight unseen in 08 and worked for these people I'd never met in my life. And, again, it was before Facebook was really popular or any other, form of social media. And, I was there. The guy, Mike, took me for a drive around the course. It was my first time getting to drive around the course in his Audi. And once he drove me around, I was like, number one, I was like, holy shit, this is insane. And number two, I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then I helped them throughout the next 2 weeks. And then when I got home, I was like, because when I was there, I met various people. I actually met Mark the Thriller Miller. Do you know Mark, right?
Absolutely, I do. Legend, bro.
Yeah, he's a fucking legend. All right.
Yes, he is.
So this dude, I remember meeting him, and he probably, I don't even know if he remembers it. I met him in 08, and I actually, because I knew he was like one of the only Americans that was racing there. And I asked him, like, hey, I told him who I was. I was like, man, I'm just from the US. And now looking back on it, I've had so many of these same people, but not meet me. They haven't met me at the TT. So that part of it, I'm like, him seeing this young kid actually there is like totally different than like somebody emailing you and be like, hey, I'm like, Joe Schmo and I ride a boost on the street. I want to go race the TT, because I used to get that all the time too. And I'm like, these guys are fucking idiots. Like they have no clue. No. And so anyways, I asked him, and he gave me some good advice. He was like, you should probably look at the Ulster Grand Prix or the Northwest 200 or the Manx Grand Prix. And that's how you have to go to these events, since you're not like a top racer from AMA. Because I'd never even done AMA at that point. I've done like the max that I did was like expert club races, and I might have had like half a season under my belt. Like I had no time because it was just a money thing. And so then I got home. I was like, shit, okay, I got to figure this out. So 2009, I went back over to Northern Ireland, and I wound up doing the Ulster Grand Prix because I was able to get an entry somehow. I did enough. I did a little bit of club racing in 07 and 08 before I went there. Or 07, let me think. 07, late 07, I got back on 08. I did a little bit of club racing in 09. I did some more club racing, but just to get ready for the Ulster, which was in August that year. And I can't remember what led me into getting into the Ulster or how I kind of connected the dots there. I can't. It was so long ago, but I met through somebody. I met Mark Hamilton, who a lot of U.S. racers know him actually. Like PJ Jacobson, he sponsored him a lot. He's a guy from Northern Ireland. He's good friends with Barry Gilsonen, who runs he used to run Celtic Racing and still is really involved in the sport. I wound up renting a bike from Mark. He was based in Northern Ireland. He was knew that the Ulster and had connections in that paddock. And I can't remember how I got connected to him, but I did. He rented me an R6, and I went there, and I wound up getting in the one like support 600 race they had, not the banner event, but the sport one. I think I got like a top 10. I can't even remember. I should have looked at the results before I got on the phone, because I'm going to say a wrong one, and someone is going to be like, "Hey, you got this fucking place, whatever." Like, honestly, I don't remember. It was 2009. It was fucking however long
time ago, right? Yeah,
long time ago. I don't really care, but I did enough. I did well enough that when I was going to apply for the TT, they gave me an entry. So that's really all I needed to do. That was my goal, to go there and, like, number one, get like some experience riding fast on like a real road race, and then get it at under my belt and do well enough that the TT organizer would give me an entry, because the TT is not like, you can't just apply and be like, oh, I want to go race the TT. It's not like that. Like, you apply, but then they have a panel of people that actually go through each application and handpick everybody that races there. And it's only gotten harder and harder to get in as the years have gone on. Especially now. Now it's like, when I went back in 2022, I mean, that was it's at the peak right now. Like, it's at it's ever been, as far as like people wanting to race it and them being super selective about it. Like, even when I wanted to go back, I didn't know if they would let me in. I didn't know, because I raced there. So in 2010 was my first year. And then I raced there every year from 2010 through 2016. 2016 was my last year from that like streak. And 2015, I did really well. 2016, it was not a good year for me. I didn't do well in 2016. Things weren't right. And bike wasn't right for me. A really close friend over there, Paul Shoesmith, died that year. So that was also like really fucking me up. And I was just like in a weird place where it just wasn't, it just wasn't working. And I didn't feel like it was the right thing for me. And that's when I stopped. I stopped racing the TT at that point. And then I was still racing, though. I was at a really good opportunity, and I was racing World Endurance the next year or two after that, 2017, 2018, which I was like always a dream of mine. So I got to do like Suzuka and Le Mans and all these like fucking, like, never in a million years I think I would get to go do the Suzuka 8-hour and like be on the track racing with Alex Lowe's and Jack Miller and fucking all these legend, like, dude, like legit world-class riders, it was, and I qualified and fucking did fine. Like, I wasn't the slowest guy there, and those Japanese dudes fucking are so fast there. It's ridiculous. So it's, like then I took this long break, and, kind of going back to it in 2022, then I wasn't sure if I was going to get in, because my last year there, I didn't do very well. And then I also wasn't racing really. Like, I stopped racing World Endurance in 2018 or 19. I did my last round, 2018. And then I wasn't really doing anything. Like, I was doing track days every year. I mean, I always do track days just like, cause I enjoy staying on a bike and, trying to stay somewhat quick, and I still ride, dirt bikes and everything too. So that kind of all keeps me fresh, but I certainly had no intentions of ever going back. And then just life happened, and I had a lot going on, and it just came up again, and I was like, you know what, and actually it was a really close friend of mine. He was the one who kind of pushed me on it, and then I, whether that's good or bad, it went well, so it was good. It's one of those places. It can be like the most amazing time of your life, or it could be the fucking last time of your life. So it's like, it's not something you can go into and be like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. Like, it's not like that. Like, the 2022, when I went there, 6 people died, and that was my first year back after 6 years. And I'm there that year, and like it was a horrible year. And so it's like it kind of is a reality check. Like my race went great. Everything, my 2 weeks went great there, but for a lot of people, they didn't go home. And it's kind of like wild statistics when you think about it. Like out of like 100 riders they might have, or maybe I'm trying to think out of like sidecar and riders, it might be like 150 people total, maybe 200. And if you have, one person die out of every 100, because average deaths are one a year. And if someone said, "Hey, you want to go do this? You have a 1 in 100 chance of dying," and you're like, "Yeah," like it's like not, it's kind of crazy. It's fucking wild thinking about it like that.
It is, but that's the beauty of the island. It's just something about it, right?
Yeah,
In the real road racing, I'm gonna tell you, man. Every time I watch it, I don't get no other feeling like it. Not
yeah,
watching MotoGP, not Moto America, not World Superbike, not BSB, because I'm a huge fan of BSB. Right, it's my
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
sports series, production based
Oh
series
yeah, it's
in the
fantastic. Yeah,
world.
the racing is unbelievable. Like the paddock is awesome. The
Yep,
people in it, because a lot of the people that are obviously there go to the TT.
yep.
I'm friends with a lot of guys that race BSB, and Peter Hickman's a super close friend of mine, and obviously he races there, and he it's just like their mentality, their culture, like everything about it. They're just, the paddock is so lively and fun and friendly, and they all hang out, and it's they drink together. It's just a cool vibe, and
It's
and then not to mention the racing, and BSB is fucking the best in the world.
yes, yep.
So yeah, I just that part of it was probably what kept me involved for so long, even though like the TT riding is awesome, but that part sucks you in too, because you like hanging out with everybody too, and like you get like all the racers, like everybody that races the TT, you're all fucking, something's not right with you. So like you hang out and you're like, you just mesh, like everything's like you're all your bros. And that's something you can't replicate anywhere. I've never found that anywhere with any group of people, like because of that, that particular thing, that event, that race, that little community. There is no other, there's nothing like it. So it's like I've tried, and it's not replicable. It's not.
Absolutely not. And I tell everybody, because I went to Cadwell Park last year for the BSB race, and it was absolutely like one of the most proper mega times. I guess I say that
Yeah.
all the time, that I've ever had at any race event. Standing there seeing the mountain course, and dude, Ryan Vickers and Josh Brooks, dude, they were straight sending it over the mountain jump. And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit. When you see it in real life, you're like, fuck.
Right.
This is, and the track's this narrow.
Oh yeah, I got to ride Cadwell when I did some testing in 2015 or 2016, one of the two. And first time I rode it, I was like, the same with the TT. You go to the TT the first time and walk the course, or go for a ride in a car, and you don't realize how narrow the roads are, like how steep, how narrow. Same with Cadwell, you don't realize, and the jump there. You also don't realize when you ride it, like how like it's kind of like, I guess watch the photos make it look bigger than it is, but
Yeah.
people get the right angle, and it's like it's not as fun of a jump. When I rode it, I was like, like it didn't really do it for me personally, but it was just me.
Yeah. It's not a super fast section of the course either,
Yeah, yeah. You
right?
just come out
It's
of like this tight right, and then you're
chicane,
going up a hill, and it's kind of funky, really. I thought it was more funky than, like, it kind of didn't flow for me. I was like, didn't really, it wasn't my the rest of the track is a cool track, but that part of it it was kind of like seeing the Eiffel Tower for the first time. It's like super disappointing. So, it's like, it was for me, I was like, I did it. I was like, that wasn't what I expected to be.
me, I remember when I first arrived there, I was like, take me straight to the jump. I went beeline straight to the freaking jump. And there was actually a track day going on. So obviously they weren't sending it like the professionals send it, right?
Right.
But it was again, the first thing I said was, holy shit, this place is like literally this, like I could lay across the track. That's how wide it is. It's super
Yeah.
narrow, right? It just blows your mind. And the people are beautiful. The food, my favorite thing there was the fish and chips, right? But yeah, it's man, I love the TT. Brandon, I feel like, dude, I got so many questions. We're definitely gonna have to do a part two. I just want to pick that brain on all that.
Oh, dude, yeah, man. I have plenty of TT stories, but yeah, that's like a whole conversation to talk about each year, and everything, because it was every year there was like a totally different thing for me. Like I didn't really have until 2022. I didn't unfortunately have like a really great, like I had good opportunities, but they were like when I finally got the good opportunities, they were on weird bikes. Like there were the EBR there one year,
Yeah.
which was great at Macau, but the TT was fucking awful. Like I hated riding it there. And then the Bimota 2015 went amazing. That was like my best year to date. When I was first on the Bimota, but and then 2016 didn't go well for me on the same bike. But it was like nobody rode that bike. There was no setup information. It was like its own thing. And I'm like, again, putting myself in this position where I'm like, I'm like still, I'm not like, a world class rider, but I'm like, I'm doing all right. But I need a bike that's like dialed. Like I need it set up, and I need that to do that without knowing what you're doing really, and having like a factory team with you or like really good support. You need like other people's data or like a good starting point. And the Momoto, we just didn't have that, and so I personally, it was it was a good step for me, but it was still a struggle. That was my first when I got on the Momoto. I finally broke 120 mile an hour like lap time there, so that was like I was stoked about that. But then when I finally got to go back and I was on a Honda, Triple R SP in 2022, and it was like fucking fastest bike I ever rode. The thing handled like a dream. Everything just worked. And the team, the guy that I was working for me, as my crew chief, him and I, we knew each other for a really long time. We actually, it was funny, we actually never used to like see eye to eye or get along really well. But then, which I had no idea why, but whatever. But now we're really close friends, and he was wound up being my crew chief, and like we just like clicked, and it all worked, and he got the bike like working just exactly how I needed it to like finally show everybody like I was like okay I'm all right, I'm okay riding a bike. Like I did really well. I did almost 120. I think my ideal lap was a 125.1 or something like that, but my lap was a 124. So I just missed Mark Miller's fucking record. Like he still has the record for the fastest American.
Yeah.
I just missed it. And but I was like, for being 6 years away and not really riding, I was like, a lot of my friends that, probably didn't expect me to come back, they were like, I got some high fives from people that I wouldn't expect like people to finally give me some props, and some on my
Yeah.
riding.
Dude, again, you're an absolute legend, Brandon. Come on, man. Absolutely, bro. Like, yeah. So listen, we're gonna get off here in a minute because you got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. But I do want to ask you one question before we get off here, and then the whole where people can find you at and all that good stuff. But when I end the video, just stay on with me for 1 minute.
Sure thing,
Okay.
yeah. Cool.
So listen, this is a question that I don't get an opportunity to ask a lot to a lot of my friends that come on here just because they're not really into the TT like I am. And since you race the TT, I have this one question I ask a fan of the TT, right? And there's many riders on this list, but I'm only going to give you two to choose from. So, in your personal opinion, who had the greatest TT comeback ever? Okay, I know the list is long. There's a lot of names on it, but I'm gonna choose two so you could pick Robert Dunlop or Connor Cummings.
So Dunlop was like before my time, really.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't felt like before I even got it. I mean, obviously, I know like the story and the Dunlop legacy and all that, but he's like definitely that's like beyond my time. I mean, for sure, because I know Connor personally, super great, good guy, really nice, really humble, and for to go through his fucking gnarly accident and then like be back and like be at the front, he hasn't gotten back on the, I don't think he's been back on the podium since then, but he's still like cracking 130-mile-an-hour plus laps. He's fast as shit.
Yes.
And to have that happen, and then it's like plaster all over the internet all the time for you to watch your own fucking horrific crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a hell of a comeback for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be a hard one to come back from for sure.
Oh, for sure. I met Connor obviously at BSB at Kenwell Park. And at first, like I didn't even realize he was there. And I happened to walk by and I look over and I was like, holy shit. And he heard me say it because I'm the only American there. My accent, the redneckish Southern twang, and everybody's like, where are you from? And I was like, holy shit, it's fucking Connor Cummins. And he turns around, he smiles. I was like, bro, dude, I'm Simcoe from America. Like, and he was like, holy shit, dude, your energy is just intense right now, And I'm like, bro, Yeah, I was like, I need a hug, dude. He gave me the hug. I got a picture with him, and then
That's
of
funny.
course I'm just a TT nerd. So I was like, blah 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 blah. And he's looking at me like, dude, you're a real fan. I was like, I can go on forever, but I'm gonna let you go because you got a lot to do. But it's an honor to see you. You
Yeah,
know,
man, for sure. Yeah, we can have to schedule another one and we can get more into it.
dude, let's do it, Brandon. Absolutely. Listen, it's been an absolute honor. You guys know where to find me at. I'm on all social medias. I'm gonna let Brandon take the microphone here in a minute so he can tell you where you can find you. This episode will be out everywhere tomorrow. When I get off of work or whatever. But listen, thank every single one of you guys and girls. I love every single one of you for all your love and support. If you can, go to my YouTube and my Facebook and Podbean and all that good stuff. Hit that like and subscribe bell. But listen, everybody, it's been an absolute honor to sit down with the legend, Brandon Cretu, bro. Tell everybody where they can find you. KYT, get the best helmets in the world, all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, I'm the U.S. distributor for KYT Americas. So, check us out. KYT, we support the sport. And I still race. So not many companies can say that anymore. It's so we're young, and having really a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy supporting the riders that I get to work with and the organizations, and it means a lot how the industry has embraced the brand here, and the customers have embraced the brand, and people are really loving it. And anybody that buys a KYT, man, I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart.
Absolutely. So listen, everybody, go to kytamericas.com, order you a KYT helmet, which are absolutely, I don't have one, but I'm going to get one. A lot of my friends racing Moto America and all over the world, not just Moto
Yeah.
America, they wear a KYT, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
So
man.
check them out. Yeah, hit them up, support it. Nothing but love. And yeah, I hope the rest of your guys' evening is as proper mega as you are. And I'll see you guys soon. All right, buddy. Let me end this. Man, Brandon,